want to talk a little bit about what this is about and what this represents, because it's really another very important facet of what we're doing in our passion for sustainable tourism and also for getting reconnected with our food. If we're going to solve the healthcare problem in this country and all the other countries, the number one thing that we need to do is reconnect our food. We need to go back to the post-World War II, where the farmers were local and you weren't eating things that were built, that were made to be preserved until the end of time, and that had all of these additives in them, that you just ate real food that you could pronounce the ingredients on. And that if you can do that and you can know where the food comes from, and even more so if you can know who produced that food, then that's how we're going to heal and that's how we're going to solve the incredible problems that we've got with healthcare costs in this country. We live in a day where in these United States of America, 92% of the seafood that we consume in America is imported. 92% is imported. 50% of that is aquaculture. A lot of it from Asia. Some of it good, some of it not so good. Only as good as our ability to test. And we've cut back the amount of testing that we do. Wild sustainable seafood is the coin of the realm. And the ultimate wild sustainable seafood, this is ground zero for it. Anybody know what it is? Mullet. All right, mullet is one of the highest fish in the world in omega-3s, right behind sardines. It is a beautiful fish, and it is totally underappreciated. And Seth Kripe and I, who you're going to have a chance to meet in just a little bit, started the Anna Maria Fish Company a number of years ago because we wanted to change the business model of Cortez, Florida, which is the oldest continual fishing village in the state of Florida and is right across the bay here in Cortez, from a commodity-based model to a value-added based model. We don't want to sell our treasure for pennies on the dollar. And the example of that is mullet row. So last 5 weeks, 6 weeks, you've seen all the boats with the funny cages and they're running all around and they're all balling up and they're chasing the gray striped mullet. The number one export out of the oldest continual fishing village in the state of Florida is mullet. When we're porting 92% of our seafood, all the mullet, number one export is getting exported. But it's worse than that, because it's exported as a commodity at $6 to $15 a pound, depending on the size of the embryonic sac. The bigger the sac, the more money they get for it. But let's just say it's an average of $10 a pound. And it goes in 40,000 pound containers all the way across the world to two places primarily, to Sardinia, and we'll get a Bottarga out here for you to see. Sardinia in Italy, where they serve all of Europe, Northern Africa, the Middle East, and to Taiwan, where it becomes karasumi and they serve all of Asia. Bottarga in Europe, karasumi in Asia, same product. Very simple cure. On a cool, dry day, you let it out in the air or you put it in dehydrators historically, and this is a food that goes back to the Egyptians pre-Christ. And it dries out with a salt cure. It leaches the liquids out of it, and it loses about 15% of its weight in that natural cure, and then it becomes Bottarga or karasumi. Very high-end, very gourmet product, prized by chefs all over the world now. It's kind of the new. So that's what the embryonic sac looks like after it's cured, and you have a nice slice of Bottarga on your plate that you're going to have with your salad. This is very umami, very of the sea. It's my favorite food besides caviar. It leaves here at $10 a pound, it loses 15% of its weight, and it comes back at over $120 a pound retail. What's wrong with that? They're taking our heritage seafood, they're sending it across the world, they're adding all the value and getting the benefits of all of that value from our product, and then we're buying it back. So what are we doing? This year, after making 2,000 pounds a year, this year we will make 5,000 pounds. Because we know the fishermen, and we know who has the good fish and the not so good fish. Who's icing the fish? Who's taking care of the fish? What's the chain of custody on the fish? And guess what? We can cure it from a fresh state. So just like we're claiming the greenest little main street in America, we're claiming the finest Bottarga in the world because we make it from a fresh state here. And this is how we take Cortez, which went through a very rough time in '95 when they did the net ban. And they took those people's right to make a living away, because for the older folks, if you're used to doing gill nuts out of a boat and you go to try to throw a cast net with 200 pounds of mullet in it, it's a young man's game. And if you survey the people of Cortez, they will tell you that their best days are behind them. But if we artisanally can and cure and smoke and fresh pack not only mullet, but sardines and amberjack and mackerel and octopus and our wonderful God-given resources, and we put a Cortez brand on them, then it is an economic development project of the first order in a sustainable way that says what our values and our character is. And instead of the mullet washing up on the shore when the fish houses quit taking the males, because the males, well, guys, we know we're underappreciated, right? And the females get $1.35 a pound and the males get 17 cents a pound. And when they get real busy, they quit buying the males. And the fish they're full of fish, and what do the fishermen do? Well, they're not taking them to the landfill, unfortunately. We want to take that, and at the worst, we want to put it as compost. But at the best, we want to take that and we want to take the fillets off of it, and we want to make fish oil if it's appropriate to do that, or we want to make organic fish meal, which is prized now and very valuable, and we want to make fertilizer, or we want to do something besides have it wash up on the bay at Mar Vista and stink and make people think we've got red tide and make me want to go postal. All right? That's the right thing to do. So please enjoy the Bottarga with your salad here.